Good afternoon, everyone. Just a quick info. We are lacking a cable for the beamer. That the people from the venue are organizing this. So in a few minutes we can get started with a quick introduction. And then we will have a short introduction of all of you and about the exercise that we will do together this afternoon. The interest in this workshop has been very big, and so we are running out of space. I don't know who has sort of officially registered with us in this room and who hasn't. If people are here who have not officially registered, and if there are people coming in who, like since a few days, plan to attend this workshop, then I could just ask you kindly to respectfully step back and let them participate. You're absolutely free and welcome to joining for the introduction class and to joining maybe for the giving out the assignment, and then to let the people who officially registered work in those groups, because there's a limited amount of space. If you sort of haven't registered and you're interested in the results, there are two options. Joining later, maybe in the last half hour of the afternoon to see the results. I think that will be interesting to see what the different people or different groups have come up with. Or we will publish all the results that have been worked out during this afternoon on a website. So follow Interactive Things or enter that data on Twitter, and then we will publish the URL of the results. So I see that the cable guys are setting it up, so I think we can get started right now.
That's the cable? Yes. Vous voulez le laptop là-bas? Là-bas, ça serait super. Okay. Oui. Hein?
Okay, so everything has been set up. Everybody seems seated or unfortunately standing. But again, thank you so much for your interest and thanks for stopping by. The workshop is called How to Turn Data into Stories. It's a data visualization workshop, but no fear, there's actually not much technological knowledge or expertise required for today. What we need is your brain. What we need is communicating between the people that are sitting here on those tables, and what we need are your ideas. So first, who is in this workshop?
I'm Alex. I work for the Neue Zürcher Zeitung, which is a Swiss daily newspaper, as you might know. I've been working at the news desk for 3 years now, and I just started in the data journalism team and working together with Benjamin on various projects.
My name is Benjamin. I'm a designer and partner at Interactive Things. I'm here together with Jeremy Stucki, who is also a partner and designer at Interactive Things. We will helping all of you create amazing stories today and communicate them visually. We work together with the Neue Zürcher Zeitung in a project which we call Intersect Data. It's a collaboration between the data journalism team inside of Neue Zürcher Zeitung and us as a design team, helping them if they need any support. The origin of this workshop and the origin sort of also of our collaboration as Intersect Data is a project which was called Keine Zeit für Mut. It was a documentary 2 years after the catastrophe at Fukushima, and it was an online reporting piece that included it included text, of course, it included imagery, videos, so all kinds of multimedia, and it also included dynamic interactive information visualization. This project for us as interaction and information designers was very interesting because we get to know how to actually tell compelling stories. And for the journalists, it was the first opportunity sort of to collaborate with us to understand how we interpret their stories into visual material. So just a quick sort of approach how we went about it and how we suggest that you go about telling your story later this afternoon. First, outlining the concept where all the people sort of sit together on one table and discuss the objectives and the goals with the piece. Next step for us was to actually go into Japan and do the reporting. While the journalists were in Japan doing the boots on the ground work, we sat in the Zurich office and created sort of the form that they would ultimately fill with their stories. Based on many different ideas, we came up with a more refined concept of what we want to tell and how we actually want to tell it. Researching all the data is a major task in creating data-driven journalism pieces. So, lucky for us, the Neue Zürcher Zeitung has a whole lot of experience with researching data and verifying facts. Our part as designers, in the meantime, was to come up with all kinds of ideas on how to visualize this research data. And the cool thing is if you work with journalists, then you might have 10,000 great ideas as a designer, and the journalists have their bullshit detector telling if you actually want to tell a story with the visualization, or you just fell in love with the visual representation for it. So ultimately we came to an agreement and we came to a balance of creating beautiful visualization that actually means something to the reader. And this is exactly what we request you to do this afternoon. So I'll let Ali introduce the exercise for the next hour to you.
I won't introduce it for an hour.
Sorry.
I will just shortly introduce the exercise. So the main idea was that you can create stories based on data out of every story that you find in the news feed, for example, from news pages. So we picked a couple of news agencies stories. And if you have in your group one story, you can read it, of course. If you think there's nothing to be done with that, then you can pick another story, but the main goal is to find an element within the story that you would like to follow up on. So for example, if you receive one part or one set of information within the story, then you can think like, what would the approach be, what kind of data could I find to follow up on this part of the story. We'll show you a couple of examples so it doesn't, maybe now it's not kind of then you should decide what publication your story will be for, which makes a big difference if you have like a very serious, I don't know, newspaper that is based on economy or on politics, or if you have like a tabloid newspaper that is based on people stories and celebrity gossip, for example. And then you of course have to think, how is your data that you're going to use for the follow-up, how is it displayed, how do you incorporate interactive elements, how do you set up the whole thing just as Benjamin described before, with a set of ideas and which one would take. Then set a title and relief for your story, and of course make sure it corresponds to either your gossip magazine, your serious newspaper, to your whatever it is. And then the last step is to write posters, and then we will display the posters, and in the last step of the workshop we'll just go around and have a look and discuss your results. Okay, so here's one example. This is only the first sentence. So this is, can you read it all? Okay. So this is just a database story already, which gives you a lot of possibilities to follow up on. So this is about unemployment rate in Canada. And one idea could be, like, okay, they're talking about the jobs in August, so how many were there in July, or in August the previous year? So you could, for example, go with a, I don't know what it's called, timeline thing, and show development of unemployment in Canada, or you could compare Canada's situation to their neighboring countries, to other countries in the whole world, see like which country is most like Canada, which countries are different to Canada, like have their global comparison. Or they're talking about expected numbers, so what kind of prognosis were behind the numbers? Who said or who is making those projections? And then you could look at the different prognoses that were made and see how well they are, or how precise they were in the past, for example. Another example is the sports news. This is about a cricket player who had something ill. Who's suffering a sick. So the question you could ask here, like, this happened to anybody else before, and how did he generate? When did he get well? How long did he have to stay in the hospital? Compare it to other players, other sports like this one. Or you could ask, what does the sick mean at that age for a 23-year-old? Is that a normal thing? Does it happen to a lot of young people? And has the number maybe increased in the last couple of years? And this is
Or you could look at what other people had suffered from fits, and at what age, at what time.
That was it, yeah. Or you could think, take the story to a service-based story. For example, think about okay, he was a young athlete, probably very healthy. He still suffers the fate. Like, what the reasons for me? What could the reasons be for me? Like, what kind of risk? Yeah, like what kind of basic risks do you face in your life as male athlete? So these are just a lot of different ways, only out of two tiny little examples. So, maybe we should go.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So these are our different stories, and now maybe we should.
I think, so if you're already comfortable where you're sitting right now, we could leave it with that. If you want to interchange, or if you feel like the topic that has been selected by the majority of the group doesn't match what you'd like to work on, you can negotiate between you. These are the 10 examples that we give you. We have 5 groups, so we kick out 5, we keep the other 5. Each sort of table picks one and works on it. We have paper over there. Unfortunately, we have kind of short paper, so there are actually 2 sheets per group. One, the important one, is your final poster, so keep that clean over the first course. The other is for your sketches and ideas and discussions. There should be pens around, use them, and if possible, bring them back.
Oh, and don't worry, there's more text, so it's not only the title that you have to do your follow-up story on. So there's more to that.
Yeah, I think quickly read them through, discuss internally, decide on one. We have the full descriptions, the full stories here for you. You come and tell us which number do you want, first come, first serve, I assume. And the time for the group work is 1 hour. After 1 hour we will come together and we will present the individual ideas and discuss them internally.
We will also provide you with examples for both, so if you kind of don't find the right approach, you can scroll through the pages and maybe get some inspiration. Maybe we should also look at the or there's a lot of people there. If you want. No.
Okay. I think balancing out the teams would make sense.
Well, no, actually, yeah, okay, so you can keep your story.
Yeah. Ollie and myself will be around if you have questions, if you want to discuss things. Jeremy will be around initially, and he might also be of help if you need any support to get you started.
If you're all ready, we will start with booth number 1, so we can gather around their posters and have a good look.
Yeah.
Maybe wait for that. Okay, then maybe talk about the story that you showed, the aspect that you take, and the
Okay, so the story we picked was 6 killed in 2 blasts near army sites in Egypt, Sinai. Basically, I won't read out the whole story, but it basically covers a car bombing in Sinai where 6 army officers were killed. It then goes on to talk about other events that also happened in the region and in Egypt as a whole, involving attacks and killing of army rebels, and relates then to the outing of the Mohammed Mercy back in July, and indicates that there's been a kind of spike in attacks over the country since that event happened. There's lots of great numbers in this particular story, so it's quite difficult for us to choose something to key on. So what we went for in the end was this relationship between the outing of the president and the escalation of attacks. We were interested in what is the kind of relationship between political events and how they translate into violent events on the ground. So our visualization is called Egypt, Casualties of Politics. And I'll kind of talk you through what we're aiming for. First of all, the idea was for a website, so it's an interactive visualization. Our blurb is a number of casualties in Egypt rising, each political action classified from different groups, different and visual timeline connected events and casualties. So we have the idea is a map of Egypt, interactive, and down the side there will be a list of events, political events and violent events. And each event will kind of show you where on the map this occurred and this will happen to right at the beginning of July, out in Mercy, and then at the bottom of this here, the 2 car bombings that our particular story is about. When they happened up here in Israel. Our data set that we would use for this is actually to just use the archives of the BBC. It's convenient, basically each one of these entries can be linked to a BBC article directly. So we have a good data set for our own content with the BBC. And offer you a kind of timeline view of various events that happen in Egypt, political events and violent events, and so you can kind of see how they share a state. We kind of pulled out its political event, black box around it, and then these are the violent events. We followed immediately after that political event. And then we had the idea that people might want to filter on either the region that they were interested in going on holiday, violence is there, or they want to see what range of dates, or maybe they want to do a specific political event to see what happens immediately after it, or they want to look at particular events, particular action progression, particularly with political events preceding it. So that's our visualization.
Thank you. Any of you have questions or want to talk about it? Go ahead. I'll just summarize what I've seen. First of all, thank you for taking such a difficult and dry news. When you look at the news that comes in via agencies, they're all like, one left there, and we don't really want to hear it anymore. They're like, oh yeah, happened, heard it. So it's really interesting to take one of these topics and put them into wider perspective, which is what it is. And also looking at the casualties. I love casualties on top. So this, you have really very dry policy issues, but you have people who are dying like every day, and you're putting the whole thing into a larger story, and with all the issues. So maybe Andrew wants to say something about visualization and part of it.
Yeah. I think what is one opportunity sort of to advance or one thing to consider is how the users should interact with it. So there are many different ways, and how you can prepare something for the user to interact with it. So either way, now that we have those filters, it's very much an exploratory tool where you're able to click around, to play around, using those filters and using especially the milestone for the conflict. It could also be an opportunity to make a narrative out of it and let the visualization change itself, and the user is more an observer than somebody who actively has to interact with it. But definitely, different target audience require different means of telling the story and different data just as well. So that's what we want you to flesh out further when you go into doing so.
Maybe anybody else want to add something? So you just think about lots of levels of complexity. Decided that you so one of the approach might be to bring data sets, have you seen from the UK or the way that we can learn how to then also bring them to Egypt and compare those countries. So you even have like a 3D bar chart of how many people they saw as dying and how many people in other countries saw as dying. So having that level of bias that goes into and that happens. Yeah, we have lots of because you also just in your week number 2. Maybe everybody can just go and have a look at it and step back and look. Okay, so the concept of our article is that the World Cup decision should have had a lot more insight and thought before deciding who would be chosen for the 2022 World Cup soccer. And we've basically taken that concept of why was Qatar chosen over the other candidates, so the other countries that were candidates were the US and Australia and South Korea. The games are happening in July, so this article is basically saying why was Qatar chosen, and we tried to consider the factors in this article in visualization. So 50 degrees is going to be the temperature in July in our 2022. Comparatively, at the same time of year, Australia would have been 10 degrees, South Korea would have been 30, Japan 28, and USA 25. So we tried to think of a way to compare 5 different candidates for the World Cup and look at their total energy consumption in order to host the game. Because in order for Qatar to allow the game to happen at 60 degrees, they're going to do air conditioning for the entire duration of the competition, and that's not really very sustainable. So we're trying to show how much energy consumption is being used in Qatar compared to other countries that could have been chosen. And we didn't really choose the most serious news articles for the most serious publication because, this has been interesting for the economists in a very much more serious way, but unfortunately the decision's already been made, so we're not trying to make decisions. We're not trying to make countries change their minds, presidents, to make decisions. We know it's been made, so we're trying to articulate kind of how poor the decision was. We broke it down in terms of total energy consumption in order to host the games. We broke it down, food use bubbles, so we broke it down to air conditioning and then drinks, and we had a lot of decisions, but we had a lot of discussions about this. I mean, at 50 degrees, the people watching the games are probably going to consume a lot of beer, and how much is that going to cost to keep the beer cool? Then we debated, well, maybe that's not really something you can measure because people probably consume the same amount of alcohol in a great game. Or will Qatar even allow that? We don't know. There's a lot of factors we didn't know. Life is, again, but basically we're just trying to say, why was this decision made in this visualization? Trying to make the reader go, yeah, what were they thinking? And we were also looking at the carbon footprint, and we thought about visualizations for the CO2 emissions and all this kind of thing. But we tried to keep it simple. I think we did make it simple. Yeah. So Well, we didn't. What did we say?
Something like that.
Talk about that.
Newspaper for everybody.
Will you be a document or will you print?
Yeah.
It's funny.
So we have no to
Yeah.
vote.
So it would also be a print possibility for a print meeting.
Yeah.
So time.
We
Yeah,
work
because-
with printing.
Okay. What are the buckets? Are they?
These
Or
are
is it stadium?
we're going to hire a design team.
Yeah.
That's part of our business plan.
Okay, so you picked a story that is, of course, a lot of people are interested in it. I guess that's my point of view. It is a big story. It is very interesting, and I love how you say it makes the reader go, whoa, because it makes it more tangible, the data. It makes it, you can see, like, I love the temperature scale. In comparison, everybody knows it's compared to the top, but nobody knows that in Australia at the same time. I mean, of course, you know it. At the same time, it's nice and cool. So I like this a lot. I like that you make those different categories that people can relate to. It's also a very big aspect. You have like energy consumption as a random word. It doesn't really tell you anything. It doesn't help you to understand what's happening. But if you kind of go on the level of drinks and air conditioning and temperature, whatever, so it's more kind of feasible for the user. What is the and to that.
Yeah, like how I surprise you.
Very good.
Yeah, thanks so much for the presentation. I think it was very important that you sort of named what the target audience is, or just described what the publication is and the form, and probably also the intent and the seriousness behind your argumentation. That could also give or could justify sort of the visual needs that you have chosen. Like different size bubbles are kind of difficult for a human to compare between them, and there are pitfalls sort of in creating it. But if we move that and really match it to the target audience, then that's probably something that they already have worked with. Or like seeing them as like a football, that's something that they immediately relate to. So be precise in those sort of justifications and in those reasons why you choose certain ways.
What question that we would say where the numbers are on the side. So we give them the option through the website. We give them the option to even ask them to notice without the numbers or something.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
The paper with grade.
So I think the multi-dimensionality, so that you have individual dimensions that you want to focus on, but as well you have the total of it, offers a whole slew of options to take this static version into an interactive one, where you can like introduce like drill down methods so that people can look at those dimensions that are of interest to them. You can add like a time series how those things are developed over the past, or you could look at the seasonal distributions of certain individual dimensions. So there's like it's an excellent starting point, and it's a great result for a printed one. If you want to move into the digital one, there's like a whole slew of opportunities that you can investigate further. Yes.
We'll move to what was number 3.
And over there, about 10.
Okay, left side.
Solution, classical and specially.
Alright, so the article that we got was about wage conditions for strippers that work for a very large strip club agency in New York called Rick's, and how them here in the States. The article was all about how the workers were misclassified as contractors so they could be denied some of their basic benefits. And so eventually the strippers were able to sue because they were
collective, and the judge decided to actually award them all those benefits that they missed out on, all the back wages that they missed out on. So when we thought about the article, there were so many different directions we could take this. We could make this a very local article to a New York State newspaper to compare things happening in New York City to other stakeholders around the state, or just make it a national story comparing it to other parts of the country. But we decided to make it international because we're an international target, and compare different conditions across different countries. But more importantly, we wanted to sort of step back and look at the issue of minimum wage and how instituting minimum wage can change conditions and benefits and things like that for different professions. So, New York just over 100 years of wage oppression. We work in the title for the bit. This article is actually an interactive article on a web page. It's not a print media. And we have a wall map where the reader can actually choose scale the map and research the shape of the country based on some metrics that they find important. So, for example, people that don't make minimum wage in certain countries where the cost of living is low and other benefits like healthcare are pretty standard. How do they compare to countries where these are not very standard? Things like that, things like GDP, and other indicators of economic conditions in the country. We also came up with a chart that shows the relative breakdown of wages to tips, because the issue is about minimum wage, to different employees within RICS. And the story is still about RICS. We're just putting it in a larger context. So our research team hasn't reported back yet, so we just made up all the results. But the managers and owners of the different strip clubs under RICS tend to make a ton of money, but most of it comes from tips that they're spending on. The waitresses make a little bit more, but not that much more than the strippers. But finally, to me, the most compelling thing that Joseph came up with is putting this issue of minimum wage and how it changes working conditions for employees in different fields. So going from 1813 to now, hopefully it's to get minimum wage in this way. But for example, thinking about how farmers got minimum wage and how that changed their lives and moved their lives. So the reader might not necessarily care too much about strippers, not just see why this is a mental issue. Yeah, that's our article is going to be Economist. It'll be on the Sunday webpage.
Can you read the intro?
Yeah, so the club dancers in a
We read it for you.
Wait for you for bell for minimum wage at the famous Rick Cabaret. Strippers dancers are officially working in very bad conditions. In some parts of the world, there are some improvements.
Okay, thank you very much.
What we forgot in this is the increase of their wage, of the average wage after the official change. Like maybe after doing plus 20%, what is the benefit of having them as a minimum wage?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so this story, of course, is an unusual story for a data story, but it's still, as you can see, there's a lot to be done with data. I guess you would have some difficulties, even though we told you can have all the data you want, to find data on strippers around the world. I guess I just think it would be difficult. So you're taking different perspectives. You're taking a historical point of view. You're taking the minimum wage discussion. You're taking the story of one club, especially like how the income is separated into right? and then the world comparison, which is a very, very broad story, and it would probably be like the economic special edition on strippers and minimum wage. So the story is really nice. I would like to read all of those stories, but probably in different versions. So I would have a minimum wage story, I would have the strip club story, and the comparison, the work exercise. other than that, really, I like how you chose all those different things, and also you stuck to the things even though you didn't have like this one story, you had like this wrap up of all the ideas. So maybe the data visualization point of view?
Very much in line with what Alex just said. I would assume you're currently exactly at the stage where you have like a whole series of prototypes, like things that you consider being interesting, and it's not one narrative already. It's like many different streams right now, and it opens up the opportunity, of course, to pursue every one of them, being it a special edition or being it a microsite at the end. So I think that something to advance further or limit down to one thing that the reader sort of can absorb. What we see for the visualization, I think a cartogram is very much in line with something that The Economist would sort of publish. The timeline just as well. The bar chart sort of represented as like figures feels not very much in line with The Economist, but then again, like we have seen things like that also on this platform. So, but if you throw that everything on one thing, it will probably be or feel a little bit Frankensteinish in terms of everything can be great, but all together it's like the imbalanced. Things are very scientific, like a cartogram, and things are very illustrative, like a converted bar chart. But if we say it's a set of where we explore prototypes, now every sort of selection can be pursued. Okay. So that.
So we proceed with number 4 or to number 5 first, so that we don't have to hold.
If number 4 is fine with number 5 being first, then everybody can sort of stay where they are, and we can do number 5.
Who is number 5?
The initiative.
Okay. The story was about Barcelona, Catalonia independency, different possibilities, and they were making their event with the human chain. So we say we look at the human chain in other parts of the world, naturally coming back to the past. So we have this information of space and time, but we say what would be interesting, because the publication is a tabloid very easy. So we say for human chains we have the number of people. But additionally what we add is the categories of human chains, like protest, charity, commemoration, and so on. So we say what's important is we show with colors and symbols type of human chains, and with bar like this, the net, the number of people. Then to show it on space and time, we say put an map, and you see the different locations. Again with the length, we can do the symbols, and here with the timeline. You can see the latest format and the other one. And so by looking at both, you learn the colors, type, and you can move, because when you read that, depending on the settings, you can write space, and then you can come under with the very easy. At the beginning, we were trying to make things more complicated. First, another feedback is, as long as we didn't have the data, we're always looking what we want to do. So it's good not only to say, we have the land, we have this parameter, then when you have the data, say, this is interesting, we need to include what we have. Good.
So the story you had was there was a human chain in Barcelona for some better movement. I like when you took this one, like the technique sort of the demonstration, and took this as one thing that you want to focus on. So this is probably something that you always have to do. I mean, that was also in the examples that we had. We took like one word even and then try to explored the story behind the word human pain and explored the story behind the human pain. So I think this is focused, and as you said, narrow it down to this one idea, and I think it's very clean, very pretty. I like the time. But that's for you too, I guess. So what is your publication then? I think we're talking about it before that.
I really like something.
Okay, so this is a very easily
Everybody.
stable for the reader, not too complicated. Okay. Very well. Do you want to say something to the visualization?
Yeah. And a little bit, I have to try my best to take a journalistic side. What would be your story in one sentence? The story of, like, the poster right now.
Story is all the human chains around the world. I mean, what was the other human chains around the world?
Okay. So I challenge you, it's a fact. It's more a fact than a story, because there's what you could see. There's little climate. If I want to be fact, so it's very hard. In terms of the visualization, you try to solve a very difficult problem, showing different things over time, over geography. Is it like that's one of the, you always like really like you through it if you take that challenge. It's a difficult one. You sort of have separated the issues and sort of use connected them. I think it makes sense. Could you quickly talk about how the timeline works? Is it something that you play? Is it something that you are able to?
No, it's not play. We were thinking of a cursor, and we were thinking first of the timeline here, and interactively you can move it.
Okay.
It's less complicated. So you just read. And being correct, you can scroll.
Yeah,
It's not the play. Because at the end, that's because of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so and probably if you see on a timeline instead of being sorted one after the other, you understand if they grow longer over time. Sort of if the average chain that keeps form becomes longer and longer.
At the end, we notice also with the impression was more protest in the latest one. So just by seeing all the red color here, you have an impression. And normally here is not the case, but I think with time normally we see which is it kept with me with the colors and the
And I guess there might be requirements when it comes to the timeline. I guess it was a very common thing to do in the 60s and 70s. I'm not sure, just guessing. When there were a lot of, the Vietnam War, the Korean War. So story could be behind this, like it's not so common anymore. Like people use other meanings now, or it's maybe an old-fashioned way. It was widely used in the 50s. For example, maybe that's not true, but that could be a story.
Yeah.
Okay, then piece number 4 is you're right.
Okay, number 4 was the news article about BP buying into the Kirkuk oil field, which is in the northern part of Iraq. And we had the tagline, "Who is eating the Kirkuk oil cake? How BP is fueling the political conflict between KRG, which is the Kurdish regional government, and the Iraqi government. Rising tension between KRG and Iraqi government due to BP desire to develop the Kirkuk oil field in the autonomous region of Kurdistan." So we tried to sort of scale it down to Iraq rather than showing all of Kurdistan. So we wanted to invite the viewer to just have a clear overview of where is Iraq, where is Baghdad, where is Kirkuk, and where is the actual part of Kurdistan, which also moves to other parts of America. The story is actually about BP getting access to the Kirkuk oil field, but may not be allowed since the government in Baghdad is working with BP, but the local government in Kurdistan doesn't want the Iraqi government to actually develop the Kirkuk oil field. So we're thinking about a hybrid sort of approach where you could have still like small infographics combined with an interactive timeline. So part of this could possibly be in a magazine, and if you want to read more and know more about oil context of the Kirkuk oil field, you go online to a timeline. This oil field was actually developed early 1928 and still in use. We would have some graphs of oil production outputs from Iraq with some flashpoints, World War I, World War II, where things sort of got shady. And we would have an overview, a pie chart of the actual oil companies working in Kirkuk. There are actually 41 companies in 18 countries, and there are just 3 Iraqi companies actually working in Kirkuk on that oil. So we would have an overview of that. And the timeline would consist of different events relating to the autonomous region of Kurdistan. We had different discussions of maybe we should extrapolate the outputs of oil to income for Kurdish people, but the data is, I don't think it's even available, so we sort of skipped on that part. So this is what we are trying to do with this specific report.
This is also a very difficult story, as we also heard now and also see. So it seems to be a very story with a lot of data and a lot of information and a lot of different aspects. But I think, as we said before at the time, it is also a story the conflict in Kurdistan and Iraq is something that you hear often, because you don't really see behind the scenes, you don't really know what is it, and are you don't really care anymore. It's going to be very cynical with all the information that you get. So to wrap up this story and also focus on BP, which is something that people hear in relation to when they have the stations that BP and all over it. So this is a very nice and good approach to focus on a story and take this perspective from outside into this conflict within Iraq. So a very difficult story, a lot of research, as I saw you working on the computer, you did research. So this would, what is the publication then?
Well, I think, as we said, it could be in the Financial Times, part of it in the timeline for readers could be like, if you want to see everything interactive, you go see everything in the form.
Yeah, I mean, I would never have guessed that it was in the week or the sound.
No, well, I mean, no, it's not so good.
Okay, so it's a very, high quality information.
Yeah.
So it would be really nice to read it.
The title
It's
not the title where you would find the
No, probably not in that.
yeah, but it's actually something that drags me into a story that is not like on the surface. If you see over Iraq, maybe it's more directly, more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from a visualization point of view, I think it's interesting that those posters actually are side by side, because like one on the left, no. I mean really seriously. One on the left tries to solve many different views on that topic, and the one on the right does the same thing. What I feel is the group on the right has sort of approached it on, okay, like how do we show this exactly, and how do we show the other thing exactly? And I feel that you have balanced out what matches sort of the Financial Times, as well as what gives good insight on the individual things. So both two things go into being more of an atlas of data instead of like one individual thing, which I think is highly interesting, and which I think a lot of people could grow interested in, because it allows of more exploration than just understanding one key fact, but actually tying it back to the key events of our history, and going into the specifics of like what are the contents. And just on a note, the thing that there are only 3 Iraqi companies working with, like that could be the key insight for a whole story, and so that you communicate those key insights in a very transparent, very accessible way, I think is a very good way to approach it and to help the reader understand what he should take away from a piece.
So maybe we'll go back to your seat and we have some left.
Yeah.
Okay, so that last few words from my side, I'm amazed by all the stories that we found today, or that we have on the posters. As you can see, we had 10 stories. They were taken from newsfeeds, from agencies, I think with Reuters and Bloomberg. They came, including, I think within like 3 hours on a Wednesday afternoon, 3 or 4 hours. So you can see how rich and how much you can pull out of these stories. And we didn't even take all of them, right? We have lots of stories. And we have even more stories than we have on the poster. So I think maybe something that we could show here, I guess, was that there is a lot to be explored, that there is a lot of possibilities in journalism with data-driven stories. And yeah, I think that's what I take from this experience, and I hope you would say.
And it just so happens that we kind of expected this, that there are many different ways on how to approach a story, just as well as there are many different ways on how to approach a visualization. And we saw the different sort of directions that the people took. And just on a note, this is the first step. If you now move into like finding the actual data for it, or at the same time found the data and start connecting your visualization ideas to the data, there are a few things to consider. And I just want to share with you like our failures of 2 visualizations that we did for the project that I talked about first. This is a very typical migration map. You see like people from one place going to the other place. When we were working on the Fukushima project, we thought about creating something like this. We wanted to see where the people flew when they were evacuated. So what we did is we had the map of Japan. We understood all the different cities that the people had been evacuated to. And then we analyzed the data from which city to which other city they were evacuated. And what we found is that it was actually a very high density, didn't even move beyond the boundaries of the Fukushima prefecture. So there was a lot of migration inside the same place. And this completely removed the possibility to show those beautiful arrows where all the people moved. So we had to react in some kind of way, and what we landed up with was a very simple visualization. It's basically a bar chart, but it's just spread out to represent the relative geographical position. But we weren't able to show big movement within the country because there were none. Another difficult one was to show doses of radiation. Doses of radiation in itself, the dimension which is called fever, and most of the time represented the amount over time, so microsievert per hour or millisievert per year. So how do you show the dimension sievert? We looked at a few examples that try to represent it. For us, they all felt a little bit sort of unfitting to what we tried to show, especially to the human aspect. So how does a human perceive radiation? And what we came up with eventually was a very, very simple and not so much precise visualization. So we took the metaphor of how we iconographically represent rain, and we converted that into how would radiation look like if it were rain. And we sort of tried to give a sense of the density for an individual activities that sort of you will receive a portion of radiation, and we compared that to the individual areas of evacuation in the prefecture of Fukushima. And so give a more of a feeling, less than a precise evaluation. The color mapping would then be translated into the geographical context as well. I think. Closing remarks?
Do you have any questions or closing remarks?
No, we thank you. There it is. Okay, thank you so much for maybe still, we will document all of the posters, so please keep them for a few minutes so that we can document them. We will publish the slides as well as a short sort of abstract of all of the ideas that were worked on the website. I think I mentioned it in the beginning. Follow us on Twitter. That's probably the easiest way to catch the link. We have the official registered participants. We have all of your email addresses, so we will send you a notification. For the ones who are here and just stumbled by, this is probably the easiest way, or just reach us on email and we can send you the link.
Who are you?
At Database or at Intercept Data. NBC. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.